Okay, cool. So see, in the last session also, somewhere down here, I have mentioned, I think somewhere, okay, I haven't mentioned, cool, no worries. Okay, over here is right. So the thing is, scope, we are aware of scope, right? Till now, what will be the scope? But the thing is, to inject this bean, I need to find out that how many beans are there, right, in Spring. And we have seen by using this thing, we can get all the Spring beans, right? How many Spring beans are there, right? And the comment out code. We have done this earlier, right? Oh, my bad.
Yes,
Over here,
yes.
this code. Context is IOC container, right? From IOC container, I want every bean definitions. And
Mm-hmm.
then I will get the name, definition name. So bean names I'm printing over here, right? We have seen this.
Yeah.
Remember, or should I uncomment this and run it again once more?
Once run it.
Come again?
Yeah, once run it.
Okay, wait. So I'll run it again. So over here, these are the bean names, right? Post construct, normally whenever a bean is created or an object has been created and then submitted to the IOC container, then it will call the post construct, right? So the post construct constructed over here, and then from here the student beans are there, right? So if there are multiple students, so their name are there, right? Naruto and
Yeah.
it's doing nothing. It's just printing the class name, right? And with the data as well over here. All right. So these are the beans that has been created, right? So if I want some bean, then it will be one of these beans, right? That I'm going to get if I ask the IFC container.
Mm.
If I'm writing if I'm writing over here at the rate service, at the rate autowire for the service, so what will happen over here? It will come and try to find the bean here, right? These are the beans that IFC container has. So from here the bean it has, it will try to find the greeting service, right? From here, and let's check whether the greeting service is there or not. The greeting service is already created over here, post control, right? Over here we have the greeting service, right?
Yeah.
So it will find the greeting service from here, then it will choose whether I should create a new object of it, or I should inject this only, or if I create another object for the session, if I create another object for the request, it that would be the scope, right? And then
Yeah.
eventually how I should initialize this variable. It's called the type of DI. To inject it, should I use the field injection, that is the case for this thing, or should I use the constructor injection, or should I use the getter, or sorry, setter injection? So which, I mean, in which way I should inject the bean? So that would be the final part, right? If we know these three things, then the auto wire is complete. So today we will see, we'll try to cover both of the things if possible, otherwise we'll try to see how it finds the beans, right? So cool. So the normal thing is how it find the beans, right? First thing. So let's go to the greeting controller again. Okay, not controller, the app part, right? Let's go inside the app, and then what we can do, we already done this thing, right? Naruto, okay, we can comment it out, right? Don't require it over here. And then I will run the code again. So over here Naruto and this has been printed by us, right? Over here we are printing sysout paramita and sysout student one, right? So we are getting both student, right? Paramita and Naruto. We have changed the name of the object. We have set the name to Naruto, right? We don't require it right now, so we can leave it as it is. So right now I'm asking for one student, right? What is the in which approach the beans has been selected? Why paramita? Okay, I need to print it. Why paramita is selected? Why student object which is of parameter is selected, right? Over here the parameter will be printed, right? Why parameter is selected? How it has chosen the parameter? Okay, before that let's okay, so let me show you one more thing. Let me open some previous project. Okay, where okay, this is the okay, there might be a chance I have put it in the filters, maybe. This thing we are also going to do the filters part, and then actuator, it's not here, right? So no worries, I'm going to go online and take this and then this and then this, and let's come back over here and let's add it. Okay, so but okay, no, not filter, the filters, right? Let's just cut down the filter and within this. Okay, it will make more, I mean, the way we are seeing the beans, it will help a lot. Now if we, okay, first of all I have to build it again. Okay, now I'm going to refresh it. Alright, now finally I'm going to run it again. Okay, so over here you can see I have added the actuator, right? So when I add the actuator, what's end up happening, I get multiple endpoints exposed. Okay, and out of those multiple endpoints I get a lot of benefits that we are going to see later on, which what benefits we'll get. Where out of these benefits there is one endpoint exposed over here, it's written right on 8444, right?
Yes.
So let's go, and the Tomcat is running on 8080, right? So let's go to, okay, 8444 and just actuators. This is the data that we have. I mean, we haven't written anything, right? Any controller we haven't written right till now, right? For the actuators, oh sorry, for this 8444, right? So this is the thing, because we added the actuator, and you don't have to do this manually. If you go to the start.spring.io, you can directly add, you can write the actuator here, you will get it from here, right? You don't have to manually go and do the task that I have done. You can just type it here and you will get it. There is no need to go somewhere else and try to write it. Cool. So there are multiple endpoints that can be exposed by the actuator, but the thing is we should not do it on our own, because actuator exposing endpoints take a toll, right? Because other people will consume this thing, right? Other people will also going to consume this API, right? So if someone is consuming this API, your server will have the limited amount of RAM and processors, right? So it will get consumed.
Yes.
That's why only one endpoint is exposed over here by default. Only one endpoint is exposed, right? And even the actuator might be health status running, right? There are few that is active, so only actuator part is active, but we don't want it right now. We want more, right? Because it's not helping. I mean, at the point we are. So what I'm going to do, I will ask him to activate all, to expose all the endpoints, right, directly, because a little bit endpoint does not make any changes for us, right? So the thing is, I can write here management, because it is the actuator used for management, right? So management, I want endpoints to be exposed, right? So management dot endpoints, then it is for web, right? You cannot use it without web, and I want to make sure exposure. Why you cannot use it without web, right? Because localhost 8084, right? And this is something that I mean, it is running by default, right? So
Yes.
if you are not using Spring MVC, then this thing won't come, right? You won't get dispatcher servlet and all those things. We will see in the later session what are dispatcher servlet, but for this mapping, dispatcher servlets are required by default. So we are not going to get this. So that's why it's for web only, right? And then we want to expose, right? So exposure should be there for which endpoint. So already few are included, right? So I want to make sure that something is included, and then I can mention that please include health, please include info, right? This can be the one thing. So if I run this again, now you'll see two endpoint exposed, right? Because I mentioned health and info, right? So over here health is this. If I'll say info, so info is empty right now, right? Because I mean there is a way we need to add info to get the info, right? So I haven't added any info, that's why it's empty. But I don't want this also, right? I want every endpoint to be exposed. I'm not running this in the production. Never do this in the production environment, right? This, because we are doing in the local, that's why I'm running in this way. Now the 14 endpoints has been exposed. Cool. And the 14 is all because I've used asterisk. Give me everything you have, right? In the database also we have write asterisk, right? For everything. Give us every column that you have. So similarly over here, give me every endpoint that you have. So I have written asterisk. Now what I want to do, I want to get the details of the all the beans that it has. Now it will be visually enchanting, right? Over here, now this is the beans, right? And let's go which beans we have created, right? Over here, greeting controller, greeting service, and student, right? So let's go and try to find it. Greeting service. Over this is the greeting service object. Alias we haven't added anything. Scope, C, singleton, right? Now the type will be the class name, resource, where the resource is there, right, for the dot class file. So this would be the path, and the dependencies if it has. So what is a dependency? So we are looking at the greeting service, right? There is no dependency, right? Dependency is something with annotated with @autowire. So this is a dependency. And why we call it a dependency? Because without the greeting controller, your code will not work, right? It will throw you a null pointer exception over here, right? Because this is an instance variable, and object does not get initialized with anything, right? Its default value of object, if it's in a heap area, it's null. If you try to act anything with null, then you get the null pointer exception, right? If autowire does not work. So you have a dependency of autowire, right, to work properly. But we don't usually say this. We say that, okay, greeting service is the dependency, right? Because if it's not initialized by the IOC container, then your service won't work, right? Null pointer exception you're going to get all the time. So let's see if we go to the greeting controller, whatever I have said will make sense or not. Greeting controller, right? We are at the greeting controller now. So over here it's also singleton. Everything will be same. Just over here you will find the greeting service as a dependency. Do we have a greeting service as a dependency? You can see over here greeting service, right? So why it call it a dependency as well? So another thing is, if you want to create a controller, greeting controller, right? You cannot create a bean of the greeting controller before creating a bean of greeting service, right? Because you want to inject it. As well over here, right? Is it making sense? See, greeting controller, to create an object of it is a responsibility of IOC container, right?
Yeah.
So if IOC container comes here first, right? So if inside this, I have mentioned the controller first, right? So it will come inside the controller first, right? So when it comes over here, the controller, it will find, okay, to create this object, I first need the object of greeting service, right? So it needs to pause over here, right? And go to the greeting service and create an object of greeting service, right? Then only it will be able to inject it over here, right? So this is a dependency. To create a bean of greeting controller, there is a need to have a okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, they left. Cool. So to create a bean of greeting controller, we need a object of, or a bean of, greeting service, right? And why I'm saying it's a dependency, or greeting service is also a stereotype, right? So to create this object or this bean is also a responsibility of IOC container itself, right? So what IOC container going to do, it will come over here and it will say, okay, I have a dependency, right? To create an object of greeting controller, I have a dependency of greeting service. So I first need to go and create an object of greeting service, then only I will be able to create an object of greeting controller, right? Because I will inject it first and then I will be able to create a greeting controller. That's why it's called a dependency. Cool. Clear till now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So by coming over here, you will get to know all the things that is required, right? So it's singleton and not, right? And one thing we can do for, okay, what I have done for X, okay, cool, great. So the student also we have done, right? For the student, the scope is over here singleton, right? And why singleton? Haven't we changed it over here? They have made it default, right?
Yes.
What if I make the scope to be prototype? Okay. Scope name. So scope name prototype. Let's run this again. Okay, and then student, again we're going to refresh it. We need to refresh it. So now the scope is prototype. Visible? Earlier it was singleton.
Singleton.
Right. So every data you can get over here, right? But it's not like in every application you put the actuators and beans, right? We don't put this thing in every project in the production, right? In the local, if you want to create it, we can do it, because it consumes a lot of time, right? Because you have exposed a lot of endpoints, 14 endpoints you have exposed. So given said that, okay, but it will be helpful, right? It's more it's better, right? Instead of looking at doing this thing to get all the bean definitions, it is better to view over here in this manner. All right, then we want to know that how this bean is getting, right? So the one thing is, the process to get this bean is, okay, student context student, right? Cool. So it is in the Spring Core application, so I'm creating a student over here only, right? So how it's getting the student? So that's the first thing. What is the flow? The flow says, what do you think the student, how I'm getting the student from here? If I go inside the bean, so it's the name, right? And over here, if I try to find which bean it's taking, why isn't singleton? Wait, why singleton? Require type singleton. Why singleton? Get bean context. Never mention it should be singleton. So I might be indifferent abstract factory. This is of Spring Beans context. Okay. Okay. There might be a chance that it's going to take application context. Okay. It might take a lot of time to get where we are going to where we end up eventually. So the first thing, how it's going to find the bean. If I'm writing it over here at the rate greeting service, right, and I have the greeting service over here, so how it's going to choose, how it's going to come over here? What's the process? What's the default way as well? Okay, so instead of greeting service, if I change its name to greeting service 123, right, and if I try to run it, will it throw an error or not? Okay, I have to change 123 over here as well. Will it throw an error or not? Okay, let me run it. I'm audible, right? Hello.
Yeah, Abhishek. Yeah.
Okay, great. So see, I have changed the name to 123, right? Greeting service 123, and the greeting service post constructor also executed, right? So the greeting service, this thing has been executed, and in the greeting controller, what I can do, I can add one more thing just to make sure whether the value has been injected. Greeting service, right? And then greeting service 123 object, right? It will be null if it's not injected, right? And also we'll see one more thing eventually. See, greeting service object is there, right? So even if I change the name to greeting service 123, it still gets injected, right?
Okay. Okay.
So what's the flow? I mean, how it's trying to it's finding the bean first, right? Scope we already are aware of, right? It will go inside the greeting service. We'll check, okay, it's a service, no scope mentioned, so default scope is a singleton scope, right? Once it finds the scope, then it will inject the same bean, right? It's not going to create another bean for it. That thing we know. Type of DI we'll see later on, but how it's finding the bean? The first preference is given to which thing? Name or okay, let's do one more thing. So now we know that, okay, right now what it's usually doing, it's finding it by type, right? It's a greeting service, right? So what it's going to do, instead of greeting service 123 we don't have, right? So it's going to find the type. It's over here, type visible. Type is visible.
Yeah.
So the greeting service type instance it's trying to pick. Okay, not by the name of the bean. This is the name of the bean, this is the type of the bean. So it is finding the bean by the type. Cool.
Okay.
So in the same manner, okay, let me just revert the code over here from 1 to 3. Okay, instead of reverting this, what we can do is just change the name of the greeting service to again back to greeting service. Cool. Now coming back to application service, then over here there is a student object, right, this parameter. So it will be checking, I mean, we can even remove the prototype just to make sure that there is no confusion, right? So see what will happen with this. I'm trying to find it, right? So should is it finding by name or is it finding by the type? The bean name, if I do 1 2 3, right, I've changed the bean name, right? Bean name is here, right? We have seen that bean name would be the method name if not updated, otherwise it will be a bean name, right? Name. So if I do this now, so will I get the bean or not? I will not get the bean, right? No bean named student is available, right? So when I'm doing the context, when I'm doing the context.get, I'm passing the name of the bean, right? It's shouting over here that name has been passed, right? The name, right? It will be bean name. It would be type. If it has been using type, then it would have been type. So if I'll use 1 2 3, then there will be no error. So now we know that Spring by default is using the type, right?
Okay.
And but if we do the context.get bean, then we need to pass the name, bean name, right? So over here it's sorted, right? I'm using bean name, so there is no issue with this when I try to do the context.get bean, right? But nobody do this, right? That's why in the production environment you will find this method to be almost empty every time. I mean, some basic configuration will be there, but no bean getting in setting will be there, at least in this method. Over here in this type of scene will be there where we are creating the bean of, I mean, from the scratch, and then passing it to the IOC container to maintain. So now the thing is, over here if there is a bean, then there will be no issue, right? Because I am passing the bean, right? So one thing is, what will happen if I try to create a bean? I can create a different method as well, right? Students, default student, okay, or I can say the second student, right? I can say the second student, right? And if I try to keep the same bean name, what will happen now? Okay, let's do one thing. Bean student 1 2 3, okay, or we can do the second student, right? We can name it the second student. Cool. And now if I try to run this, code will run, right? Normally, no worries. But if I try to name exactly same, the new bean also I want to name the exact same. Now what will happen? What do you think? What will happen? I'm trying to create two beans with the same name. Over here, there is no issue, right? It has run successfully. Alright. Now if I just copy this, and instead of parameter, let's say Ashok. Right. And then if I go to the beans part and try to search student, so one student is there, right, with a student, and you will not find anything other, right? There is only one student, right? No other student, because it's a singleton. But what if I make it, okay, there is a, all right, we'll see in later on. The scope equals to prototype. All right, and same I'll copy paste over here as well, because it is a singleton, right? Singleton will be only one bean will be there, right, with a single name. But with prototype also, I haven't got anything else, right? Because the student and student name is same. So if I again try to search it over here, the student, we have a single bean, right? Right. But the thing is, when we try to get the object, the student with parameter is printed, right? Student with parameter is printed, right, instead of Ashok. I'm audible?
Okay. Okay.
So over here, this kind of things can happen. I mean, in production, this kind of thing usually happens with the freshers who just move to the Spring Boot. But the thing is, with over here, because I'm trying to get using the context, right, and I'm passing what I'm passing the I'm passing the name, right? I'm searching I'm searching the bean with the name instead of the type, right? So there is no issue, right? But what will happen if I create, there is already one bean, there will be a bean, right? There will be a bean of greeting service, right? So let's do one thing. Now let's say that the greeting service use some sorting logic, right? Now I will show you how the things usually happens in production environment. So there will be a package, and let's say the sorting will be the package. Inside the sorting there will be a package of API, and then inside the sorting there will be another package of implementations. So okay, so those who don't know regarding the interfaces, then this would be the prefix for the Spring Boot course. We're going to start the interface in 2 to 3 days time, so you can join the Java batch if you're not clear with the interface, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the sorting. I represent the interface, right? And I will just write over here void sort, and will take integer array. Okay. Why? Okay. So I can add. Okay. It has been taken as class. It's an interface, right? Now I don't need to add it. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is simply provide the implementations of it, right? Let's say I'm going to use, okay, bubble sort. No one use bubble sort, right? So merge sort, one solution is merge sort, right? And merge sort will implements my I sorting. Cool. Obviously I need to implement the sorting, right? And I will just print the sorted using merge sort. And similarly I'm going to create another class as well. It would be the quick sort, right? Only two sorting is used in real time. Implements I sorting, right? And over here what I can do, again I need to implement the method, and same thing I will write over here, sorted using quick sort. All right. Now okay, both need to be a component, right? Component again is a bean, right? Component is a stereotype again. See, component and it's a stereotype, so its bean will be created. So the merge sort will also be a component. All right. Now what I'm going to do in the service, I will write public public I sorting, right? And sorting algo. Cool. Okay, I sorting. Okay, cool. So sorting algo is the object that I'm using. And public void, and we can do one more thing, just simply print the sorting value, okay, sorting algo. And if we are using sorting algo, then in the implementations we need to add @toString. @toString will simply add the toString method, right? By default implementation of it, whether I write toString as over here annotation, or I simply put the toString like this. Okay, we have no variable over here, right? So whether I write toString as this, add a method, or add the simply the annotation, it is same. So annotation is preferred, obviously, so we are going to use annotations. Cool. So right now, let's say there is only single component, right? There is only merge sort. I have committed out this thing, right? So okay, cool. So now just run it. So over here it's null, right? Greeting service, the sorting logic is null. Why the sorting logic is null? Because I haven't added @ or divide, right? Now the Spring IOC container will be responsible to add the sorting logic. And now the thing is sorting algo has failed, right? Cannot be found. Visible? Visible?
Okay.
Sorting algo cannot be found, right? So, but what if I change over here, instead of sorting algo, what if I write quick sort is not here, merge sort, right? It's merge sort over here, right? What if I change the variable? If I change the variable name to merge, MERGESORT, right? Merge sort. If I run it again, okay, sorting algo is not there, the merge sort. Cool. If I run this again, and now also the same thing is happening, right? That I sorting cannot be found. So we, okay, someone joined again, right? Okay. Cool. So see what's happening over here, that we are unable to get the bean of I sorting, right? But if we try to print all the sorting, if we try to print all the beans over here again, if we commit this out this thing and try to run this again, okay, we won't be able to print it, right? Because the thing is it's at the rate auto while true, because the beans is not completed, after that only it will going to print all the beans, right? Okay, so we are at the line this only, we are not able to complete this line. So we are not able to see how many beans has been created, right? So how we can handle this case where I need to merge a object, and where I need to inject as well, right? One thing, see, it's way too simple. I have added this as a component, but have I added it in over here? I have not added it over here, right? I'm audible?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, see, this is the basic thing, but okay, no worries. But try to keep up with these things. Okay, I will do this twice and thrice also, because this is the most basic thing that people usually do. Of course, not every time we will be putting this Spring Boot annotation outside the batch, or it we are not going to do this thing, right? Spring core, and we will keep this till here, right? So okay, just simply go in the sorting, and till sorting we'll just copy and we'll just going to paste it here, right? Now if I run it, now what will happen? Okay, like, my bad, we don't require this thing, right? Again, okay, so I will restart the code again. Now you will see that the merge sort is there, right? So how it has selected the merge sort over here, if you'll see the code, the variable name I have changed it to the merge. Okay, let me just change it to sorting. Okay, wait 1 minute, let me change it to sorting algo. Cool. And let me rerun it again. Will it throw error? Will it get it? Merge sort is there, right? Why? Because it's what it's usually doing, it's just going over here in the beans part. Let me refresh it, and it is searching by sorting, right? And merge sort, right? Over here it's the merge sort, type is merge sort, but the merge sort is merge sort is the child class of sorting logic, right? I sort, no bean of I sort is there, right? But this merge sort is the child class of I sort, and we know that is a relationship is there, right? So if dog extends animal, so dog is a animal, right? This is the thing that we say, right? We have covered this in the inheritance part. So cause dog is a animal, so similarly merge sort is a I sorting, right? Because merge sort extends I sort, because the I sorting has been implemented by merge sort. So it means merge sort is a I sorting object. So I sorting algo, we can change this as well. Sorting algo. Cool. So merge sort is a I sorting algo, right? Like a dog is a animal. So that's why even though this is of merge sort is of merge sort, but if it's not able to find the direct relation or the direct type, it will try to find the parent type as well, right? That's how the merge sort is selected. It has selected the parent as well. The closest parent it will choose, right? If there is a class A which extends class B, then it extends the algo I algo, then merge sort will be preferred, because there are two places that I have to complete. Post that, I will be at the merge sort level, right? So the minimum distance I require, the same thing that happens with the upcasting of a variable in overloading. So similar concept will be applicable over here, right? But the thing is, it has selected by the type, right? Merge sort type. Cool. But the thing is, what will happen if there is two components or two beans, right? If what will happen if there will be two beans with the same type, right? So now they will merge. Quicksort also will be the a type of sorting algo, right? So what will happen in this case? What should happen? Anyone? Okay, has anyone working? I mean, in this, I mean, out of you three, anyone working with the Spring Boot already, or you are learning? Everyone is learning right now.
Yeah, learning. I am learning.
Okay, Kishore and Pramita.
Yeah, learning. Yeah, learning.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the confirmation, because this question don't make sense. All right, then this question don't make sense. All right, it's going to throw an error, right? Why it's going to throw an error? Earlier it was able to find only one merge sort, right? Which is a I sorting algo, right? Now it will find two two types, right? Merge sort also and quick sort also, right? So over here you can see field. What is a field? Field is a variable, right? In the OOPS language, field property is variable in the OOPS language. So field sorting algo, right? So that would be the variable sorting algo, right? In greeting service, right? So let's go to the greeting service, and it's saying the field or the variable sorting algo in the greeting service require a single bean, right? Because a single variable is there, right? We are not asking for a list. It requires a single object, right? So bean is the object only that is managed by the IOC container. So it requires a single bean, but two were found. Which two were found? Merge sort and quick sort, right? Now what we can do in this case? Any? Okay. Anyone haven't used anything, right? Cool. So the thing is, it's already showing the answer as well. Consider making one of the bean as primary, or update, accept multiple beans, or use the qualifier, right? So these two things we will see at the rate qualifier and at the rate primary. Cool. We are going to see this. So one solution is primary, right? At the rate primary. So how it going to solve this thing, right? Because when I come over here, two beans will already will be in there, right? So how the primary will help? Primary will make sure one thing, that if 1, 2, or even 10 beans of the same type exists, then out of those 10, every time if someone finds multiple beans, then merge sort will be taken as the primary bean and it will be injected. Cool. Over here you can see merge sort is selected, right? Because I have taken the merge sort to be the primary bean. If there are multiple bean of the same type, what is the default type of finding a bean? It's a find by type, right? And when I'm finding by type, there might be a case where multiple object of the same type is there, right? Multiple object of the same class might be there. So in that particular case, which class should be taken as the primary, that I can decide over here, right? Right now I decided to make primary the merge sort, then it can be taken as the primary. If I remove it and put the primary annotation at the quick sort, now if I run, now the quick sort will be here, right? Now quick sort will be printed over here. Quick sort, right? So this is the use case of primary. So see, the quick sort is better because it's a in-place sorting logic, right? But there are chances whenever we work with the linked list, Now in case of linked list is a special case. So in case of linked list, the merge sort is preferred. If I want to sort the linked list, then the merge sort is preferred. Otherwise, for arrays and all different structures, the quick sort is preferred. So let's say if I want to use the merge sort, then how can I do, right? The primary, I have selected the primary, right? So now every time I'll try the sorting, here the primary will be injected, right? And primary will be injected in which manner? Because there are two types of I sorting algo object there. So what will happen? The primary will be selected, right? There will be an error if no primary is selected, but I have already selected the primary quicksort, so the quicksort will be injected here as well. But what if it's a special case and I'm trying to sort? Okay, let me write it as well. Okay, linked list sorting service, right? And in the linked list sorting service, okay, what I can do, I can simply just copy paste post construct, and instead of copying it, just write it, right? Public void post construct and just this out, and okay, and this I sorting logic private I sorting algo and at the rate auto, right? So over here I sorting algo I'm trying to print it, and I need to write at the rate post construct as well. Cool. So and let's print out this thing as well. Get class, get name plus the post construct cool method. Again, need to make it a component. Cool. It's inside the service, so I don't need to again update the component scan, right? If I run this, obviously the quick sort will be here, right? So see, sorting service and the quick sort is selected, right? But the linked list requires, the better approach for the linked list would be the merge sort. So how can I make sure the merge sort I can use? So over the error we have seen the qualifier, right? In the qualifier we can see that I can pass the value, right? In the qualifier, okay, value. So in the inside the qualifier, the value I can select is merge sort, right? And now in over here in the linked list service, if I try to search okay, merge MERGESORT. Okay, let me just check the name of the bean over here. Let's refresh. Merge sort. All right, just one change, and over here now it's merge sort, right? Visible. Earlier for the linked list, quick sort was there, right? Because quick sort was the primary one. So if there are multiple beans of the same type present, then it was written that okay, please select the primary one, and primary one was quick sort. But over here I have used a qualifier, and with qualifier I need to pass the bean name. So that's why I just copy paste from here, right? Because this is the bean name. So the if I use the qualifier, it is equivalent to using get bean, where I pass the bean name, right? Any doubts till now?
Okay.
So see, we can find, I mean, okay, let's go to the getting service. So over here, okay, maybe in controller. All right, cool. So find by bean, it we have written, right? So what will I do? I'm going to come here, right? In the beans array, right? This is a beans array, and over here we can see the beans. There are 296 beans, right? So whenever I'm writing this auto void over here, the beans will be created, right, before it, because it's a dependency. If I want to create the object of greeting controller, the greeting service is a dependency, so it needs to create a greeting service, right, before it creates a object of greeting controller. So what will it do? It will come here and try to find out of these beans, it will try to find the bean greeting service, right? So if I have used at the rate qualifier and then provided the bean name, then it will be trying to find the bean by name, right? But by default it will try to find the bean with type, right? So normally what it will do, it will go inside this and try to find the by type, right? By type it will choose, okay, no, okay, not MVC configuration class, right? Okay, in the type no thread pool task executor, right? So this is how it goes, and eventually if it found the greeting controller, so okay, service is required, right? Not the controller, service is required. So when it find a type of the greeting service, or its parent or its parent is a type of greeting service, then it will be selected, right? One thing. But if there are multiple of the same type, then there will be an error. You need to map a primary one, right? So cause the thing is, if the sorting logic is there, then we know that the sorting quick sort is the one that is the most used, right? But there might be a chance for certain cases I need to use some different sorting logic, then I can search the bean by name, right? Merge sort. So I can search, so I can directly pass the bean name so that I can choose that particular bean. I can find the bean. So how many ways we have seen to find a bean? By type and by name, right? By type we will do by default. By name we will do by using the @qualifier. All right. Any doubts? Any doubts?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, cool, great. So we are done with this thing, right? So the finding of bean, we know that it will try to find by type. So this thing has been completed, right? And should it create a new object of it, or will it just put the same bean? So over here we can just simply see the scope, right? It's singleton. So the already the bean has been created, will be injected over here, right? We'll be initializing this variable. So then now the thing is by type. So how can I inject it by type? So that's the next thing, right? What we can do for now is I sorting. We can skip, or we can keep it, right? The sorting logic is here and the greeting controller is here, right? What we can do, we know the greeting service object has been created, right? Because we have the data over here. So what if okay, this is called field injection, right? Because over here what the Java internally do, it will use the reflection, and by using the reflection it will set the value of this variable, right? Why reflection? Because the variable is private, we cannot access this from the outside. So for this case we need reflection, and internally it uses reflection. Cool, that's the thing. Given said that, we are not going to touch the topic of reflection over here. It's a core Java concept, so you can read it on your own if you want to. And so the next thing is okay, type of day, right? So this thing is, which injection is this? Field injection, because it's directly setting the value using the field, right? Internally it will be using the reflection. All right. And the another thing, let's suppose I just committed out this auto wire, it's not over here, right? Now we will see the this greeting service value, which is an object over here, it will be null, right? Because no auto wire is there.
Yeah.
You will see it's null, right? So what if I write a setter, my bad. What if I want to write a setter, right? And at the setter I write the auto wire, right? If I now try to run it, we'll see whether the greeting service will be null or not. Over here you will see the greeting service has been injected, right? It's not null,
Okay.
right? So the value has been updated, and it's called the setter injection. Cool. Now let's comment out the setter injection again. If I try to run it, so what will happen? Null, right? Because there is no field injection and there is also no setter injection, right? So the value will be null, right? So let's do one more thing. Let's add a constructor, right? And above the constructor, if I write the @autowire, if I run this, now what will happen? The greeting service again has been initialized. Okay, where is it? This is it, right? So this is called constructor injection. Where is my constructor? Okay, this is the constructor, right? So this is called constructor injection. Now one thing to know, if I remove this constructor auto wire over here, if I just commit it out or just simply remove this, what will happen now? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's comment out the entire, okay, let's comment out this entire this thing. And this is the getter injection, right? Setter injection. Let's comment out the setter injection, right? And if I run this, the value will be injected, right? Grading service is there, right? Cause of setter injection, right? But if I remove the auto wire from here, now what will happen? Please answer. If I rerun it, am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, we have to pass. I mean, greeting service we have to pass. In this case, we will be unable to pass, I think.
What will be the value over here? Will it be null or will it be some object?
It will be null.
Yes, it will be. Okay, let's see. And it should be null, right? Because we are not using at the rate auto wire anywhere, right? It will be null, right? Because no IOC container is involved, right? Because if you write the at the rate auto wire, then only it will try to find and do all those things, right? So it's a normal setter, it's not a setter injection, right? You need to add auto wire to make it a setter injection. Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Let's remove this. Now coming back to constructor, right? In constructor, if I'll run this, because it's a constructor injection, right? At the rate auto wire is there, so obviously the value of greeting service will be there, right? Visible? Is it is there, right? With constructor injection.
Yeah.
And you can do one more thing also, that instead of coming here, we can write over here, right? Constructor injection applied. Yes, it will be better, right? Plus get class, get name, right? And the same thing we can do with this over here, setter injection applied, right? So someone is calling it, right? So this must be, if the constructor is being used to inject the value of greeting service, then this line will also get executed, right? So let's run this again. And over here, greeting service, constructor injection applied. Visible?
Yeah.
And if we have seen this, let's check the setter injection also, whether it's applied or not. Over here you can see setter injection applied, right? All right, now we are aware of this, that okay, if I run this now again, because I'm applying the constructor injection, right? So constructor injection applied will be there. Okay, over here, right? Constructor injection applied. What if I remove this auto wire from here now? What will happen now? Please answer.
Yeah, it will be null only.
Okay, so if I run this now, you will see constructor injection being applied. So the default type of injection is constructor injection, right? Because I haven't even written at the rate auto wire. Again, this thing is not something that is known to people. So when you try to groom some freshers, then this question arises, right? One thing, because how the bean name is selected. One question that I have seen multiple times, that the new or the fresher says, then how the name is being selected, right? Why this? Because usually the bean, if I don't use this thing, then what will happen? The name of the bean will be default student, right? So they are not aware about this. One thing. Second thing, they are not, I mean, they are confused, right? How is this being initialized? Because they find no auto wire, right? It is not, it is being initialized by the setter injection, the constructor injection, right? Because the constructor injection is the default type of dependency injection, right? So we don't need to provide it. If there is a constructor with the dependencies or all the dependencies that exist over here, then, and there is no auto wire is written, see what will happen if I just write auto wire over here, right? I have constructor as well, right? Constructor as well for constructor injection, but I have specifically written annotation over the field, right? So will it choose the field injection or will it choose the constructor injection, right? Which injection it will choose? Try to think which should be the case.
Constructor only it will choose.
See, constructor injection applied. Okay, and what? Okay, whether if I write or not write, right? Then also constructor injection will be applicable, right? Over here, visible. So if you do this kind of stuff, then this will execute, right? Again, people get confused. I have written over here, then why this is being executed? Because it's by default, right? It's not even looking at over here, and it will be executed for sure every time, whether you provide it or not provide it, right? So this is a default type. Cool. And what if now another thing? What if I try to write auto wire again? Will it throw an error? Will there be any error? The answer will be no, right? Constructor injection will be called. And the another question arises that okay, if I have every auto wiring types, right? Dependency injection types, field, constructor, and the setter injection. Now what will happen? Will it call every injection? And the answer is yes. Constructor is also called, setter is also called. But does it make sense? No. Why you are using the time of consuming the time of this IFC container, right? Because over here what it's doing the injection by field as well, it's doing the injection by constructor as well, and it's doing the injection by setter as well. Right? I'm audible?
Yeah.
So why to do this multiple times, right? You are consuming the time of IOC container, and until the IOC container creates all the beans, your server will not be up, right? So you are just boot time, you are just increasing your boot time. Does not make sense. So choose any one of it, right? So the other one should be committed, I mean should not be there, right? And in the production environment you will see most of the time only the field injection will be used. Most of the time, 99% of the time only field injection will be used. Cool. But we need to know the different things as well, right? Otherwise we'll get confused. Okay. Again, now the question, what is the wait. Now the question, what is the default type of finding the bean?
Find by type.
Great. What is the default type? What is the default scope of a bean?
Singleton.
Yes, interview question. These are interview question. What is the default type of DI? I mean dependency injection.
Constructor.
Constructor injection, right?
Constructor.
Okay. So these three are basic interview questions, right? So okay, and if I have the multiple beans with the same type, what will happen then? The default type for finding a bean is by type, right? But if I have multiple beans at the same time, what will happen? There will be compile time error.
Yeah, there will be error.
Yes. And then, okay, not compile time, sorry, runtime error. There will be a runtime error. Cool. Now, the second part. How can I fix it?
Yeah, at primary or qualifier.
Okay, so again, interview question. What is a @qualifier versus @primary? Okay, so @primary we use when there are multiple instances of the same, I mean multiple beans of the same type. Then at the particular time, if one bean is annotated with the primary, then that bean will be treated as the primary bean and will be directly injected, right? One thing. And the second thing, @qualifier, if I want to switch the finding type of the IFC container from by type to by name, I can use @qualifier. I can pass the bean name, and it now instead of finding by type, it will find the bean by name. Cool.
Achha, okay.
All right, and then in the scope, it will just simply ask what is the difference between the singleton scope and the prototype scope and the session scope and the request scope. So we have already covered that. Type of DI also today we have covered, right? So everything we have done today. Okay, and another question is explain @auto-wire and its internal working, right? So the internal working is these three, right? So just explain these three things, then you are sorted. You will be able to answer it properly. Cool. Let me end the session.